And I'm sad to say this horrible type of scam, which comes all wrapped up in a beautiful romantic bow, is catching out more people than ever.
It's truly awful. Last year, nearly £100 million was lost to romance fraud, according to Action Fraud. And the dark art of targeting those looking for love is reaching new lows as the con artists harness artificial intelligence to make their romantic advances even more realistic. And it's made even worse by just how much of the world of dating is now done online.
Now, shortly, we're going to talk to one expert who unpicks the methods on these types of scams and advises on how to guard against them. But first, we're going to hear from former university lecturer Nikki MacLeod. This time last year, she was listening to Radio Scotland during BBC's Scam Safe Week, and she felt absolutely compelled to get in touch and share her own experience. And we've now picked up the case on the programme.
Nikki MacLeod from Edinburgh has endured a tough few years. After the death of her parents and the ending of a long-term relationship, she sought comfort online.
I was really at rock bottom, and I started just chatting away to people on the internet because I was getting very lonely when I was using Facebook chat rooms.
Nikki says the chat rooms really helped, and by the summer of 2024, she was feeling far more optimistic, not least because someone online had caught her eye.
She was obviously a sailor. She was wearing a beanie and a big jacket. Just a little tiny avatar picture as you get on Facebook. And I thought, oh, she looks really attractive. And I just wanted to talk to this woman and find out who she was.
She was called Alla, and within days of Nikki dropping her a message, a connection started to form.
We just started blethering to each other. What we were doing today, what you had for tea, this kind of everyday conversation you'd have with somebody you know really well. We got to know each other more and more, and she started being really sympathetic.
The pair chatted every day, exchanging hundreds of messages, and they bonded over a joint love of the sea.
She knew I liked to go out sailing, and she said, yeah, I'm a sailor, let's buy a yacht and let's sail around the world. Let's just do that. And it just sounded so fantastic.
In fact, Alla spent most of her days at sea. She told Nikki she was an engineer on an oil rig, and that to stay in touch, she needed to buy digital gift cards to pay for an internet connection. Initially, Nikki was sceptical, but Alla convinced her that their future relationship depended on a ready supply of codes from the cards to stay in touch. Nikki spent hundreds of pounds on them. But Alla's constant demands for more and more cards started to unsettle Nikki, so she voiced her concerns.
I started questioning her identity. And she said, no, it's really real. And then, because I was getting so sceptical, she sent me a video.
Well, Nikki, it's Alla Morgan. I wanted to reach out to reassure you that I am sincere and have no connection to any scams. Your trust means a lot to me.
With that, Nikki's creeping doubts vanished. The couple continued to chat, with Nikki sharing details of her family life and hobbies. Alla told Nikki about her well-paid engineering career, and they started to make plans for the future. As the bond seemed to get stronger and stronger, Alla suggested they meet up in Edinburgh.
I was so excited. She said she was absolutely head over heels in love with me. I was in love with her. I mean, it was that simple.
But the visit would come at a cost. Alla said her employer would need Nikki to stump up $2,500, around £1,900, to pay for a helicopter to bring her from the oil rig to Edinburgh.
She said, don't worry about it. I'm so rich. I'm getting $1.5 million for this contract, and I'll pay it all back. So just give them the $2,500. So I did.
But that was followed by another request for money, this time for almost £10,000, supposedly to compensate for Alla's leave.
I didn't pay that because it made me very suspicious. And I thought, I just don't trust this at all.
But just like last time, as soon as Nikki raised her suspicions, Alla sent another video.
Good morning, Nikki. Hope you had a wonderful night. I want to prove myself to you and hope this video proves you wrong with all the negative thoughts. You can see it's very storming weather outside.
But when it finally came to meeting,
She never turned up at Edinburgh Airport. And I'd filled the house with flowers because I thought she was going to turn up the next day.
Nikki was upset, but the pair reconciled and continued to exchange messages. And while Nikki was now on her guard, Alla reassured her that she was absolutely committed to their relationship.
It got round to the fact that my daughter was desperate to find somewhere else to live in Aberdeen, and Alla promised she would just buy my daughter a house. It was very, very generous, which is why I asked her if she really meant it, because it was so generous. She said, "I love you so much, I'm just going to give you this money."
Nikki and her daughter set about finding a suitable property, settling on a one-bed flat costing £65,000. To get the ball rolling on the purchase, Alla provided Nikki with login details for what she said was her online bank account with a company called Terrafin Capital. And when Nikki checked the account, everything seemed to add up.
Lo and behold, there was $1.5 million in her bank account. So I happily transferred £65,000 to my bank account.
But Alla's bank blocked the transaction. Almost instantly, Nikki received an email saying the account had been frozen and releasing the money would require a payment of £8,500. Baffled, Nikki messaged Alla, who was as reassuring as ever.
Alla said, "Why don't you just pay them and then I'll give you the money back."
So Nikki did just that, using her bank and PayPal accounts to pay the fee to Alla's bank in instalments of around £1,500 at a time. But when Nikki's bank blocked one of those transfers, she picked up the phone to find out why.
The bank said, "What's that bank called?" "Oh, we know about that bank. It's not a real bank. And that person is not a real person. You've been scammed."
The online bank account Nikki had viewed had been faked, and the £1.5 million she'd seen didn't really exist. Now, Nikki knew that everything Alla had told her had been a lie.
I didn't want to believe it at all. I wanted it all to be real. I was really involved with this person. I wanted her to come here and buy a boat and sail around the world. I can't tell you how much I wanted it, but it never happened.
Nikki believes she spent around £20,000 on Alla, though can't be completely sure. Some of her losses were reimbursed by her bank, but the lion's share of the payments came from her PayPal account. PayPal refunded around £6,000 through its buyer protection policy, but roughly £11,000 was transferred using the platform's friends and family function, which comes with no such protection. But for Nikki, the biggest loss was emotional.
I feel really stupid, completely stupid. She was one of my best pals for a while. And you know, ironically now, it's like something has kind of disappeared from my life, but I'm getting over it.
Something has indeed disappeared from Nikki's life because Alla wasn't just words in a text message or photos sent via Facebook. As far as Nikki knew, this living, breathing, speaking person was Alla. But she wasn't Alla at all. In fact, her real name is Sophie Bavière. And the woman who uncovered her true identity, romance fraud expert Anna Rowe, joins me now in HQ, along with fraud lawyer Aaron Chauhan, to unravel more truths about how the scam unfolded. This is a really extraordinary and upsetting story, actually. Anna, you, I know, have been working with Nikki on uncovering the truth about her romance fraudster. So how did you get involved, find out what was going on?
I started helping victims of romance fraud back in 2017. I'd seen Nikki's story on other platforms and I actually recognised Sophie's face. So Sophie is the real person behind the pictures of Alla Morgan. Sophie is used particularly for her profession. So she is a sailor, she does work on the seas, and one of the top professions that these particular fraudsters like to use is an oil rig worker scam. So Sophie's pictures fit very, very well with that.
So what they've done, essentially, you're going to have to explain it to me, is they've taken those videos that Sophie has put out and then they have manipulated them. So let's play the video that Nikki was sent.
Good morning, Nikki. Hope you had a wonderful night. You know the reason of sending you this video to you? Because I want to prove myself to you and hope this video proves you wrong with all the negative thoughts.
I find that really convincing. How would anybody know that wasn't for real?
It's incredibly difficult. The only part of that video that's been manipulated with the AI is the mouth movements. So this is software where they would upload the saved video and they can choose a voice and then they type what they want that voice to say. And then the AI manipulates it, lip syncs the lips to the movements of the speech that they want it to say.
So what I want to do now is play the real video, and she says something completely different. So let's play that.
It's been a while. We haven't done any live here. So we're back. And in the bridge.
It's really hard to tell the
Really
difference,
difficult.
isn't it? And what strikes me about all of this is that the effect of it on anybody who's been affected by this kind of scam is devastating, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, we describe it as a triple trauma. So the victim who, to all intents and purposes, has been in a real relationship, even though it was manufactured for the purpose of fraud. So they are really intense relationships. So the first trauma is that that relationship has suddenly ended and it leaves a really huge void. The second trauma is that that character that they thought they were in love with and that loved them didn't actually exist at all. And then, of course, the third trauma is the financial loss, which can leave people devastated for years as well.
And there's a particularly cruel element to the financial side of things here too. If Nikki had been duped into transferring the money from the bank, chances are she would have been reimbursed. But most of it was sent via PayPal using its friends and family function, which comes with no such protection. Where does she stand, Aaron?
PayPal have two options. They have this kind of friends and family option, or paying for goods and services. These payees are set up as friends and family. So if you're tricked to pay these people, unfortunately, PayPal's resolution center says, we're not going to cover you for reimbursement. So unfortunately, not the same protections as you'd expect from maybe your larger retail banks.
PayPal has told us it's sorry to hear about what had happened to Nikki, advises customers to be wary of unusual payment requests, particularly if it targets your emotions and is moving large amounts of money, even when the request appears to come from someone you know. Aaron, the other big player in all of this is Facebook, isn't it? Where so-called Allah targeted Nikki in the first place. We shared the details of this case with Meta, its parent company, and it told us there are tips on how to avoid romance scams on its website. That advice includes beware of unsolicited messages, verify unfamiliar accounts by checking when the account was created, or, for example, doing a reverse image search on the photos to check their authenticity. Do you think that Facebook has any responsibilities here?
Yeah, I do think all social media platforms, Facebook included, do have a responsibility. Just having the messages like they've said there about verification and so on, it's not enough. They have to act themselves and remove this content. Otherwise, it's going to continue to be a large part of the problem many victims are facing.
Anna, you speak to lots of victims like Nikki regularly. What's your advice for people who want to meet someone online?
So it's really important to remember, firstly, that anyone can be a victim. It's not, this will never happen to me.
Yep.
These particular fraudsters do have very particular professions that they stick to. Because they know they work. Military and offshore workers, oil rig like this, very, very, very popular. They will always say that they're going off to work abroad or they are already working abroad. That's how they create a problem. They will very often try to get you off of the platform that they meet you on really quickly, normally within about 48 hours. Right. That's because algorithms can pick up what they know is the chat that's going on. And the other thing to do, get someone to look over things with you. Check it out from a cold view perspective.
So it's literally going back to the old adage of head over heart, if you possibly can.
It is. And if we can all keep that in mind every time we make new connections online, and we do make connections online, and it's a good thing in its truest form, but we've got to be wary of what we're looking for out there.
Gosh, thank you both very much indeed. And thanks